I'm Anna, and as they said, I just graduated in October. I'm just going to start by talking about, I guess, the first spark that brought me into this realm of existence and what ultimately changed my life. And actually, Chris, I don't know if you even know this, but you had something to do with it. I was in high school, and Chris and another graduate, Moses, came to my school to do a Killer Coke presentation. And we had a social justice club that was actually thriving at a Catholic school just north of here. And so they did a presentation, and then afterwards, Brent, you remember maybe, we started this campaign against Coca-Cola in our high school. So a friend and myself took it to the board and made the arguments why they needed to be removed from our school and the contracts needed to not be renewed. And it was featured in local papers, and it was very exciting for a 16, 17-year-old to get involved in that type of activism. And I had come to King's to do a workshop as well with you guys. So that's kind of what drew me to this place, and ultimately started a journey that that incorporated both my mind and my heart. So coming to the program I was coming from a place, some people here know this, a very disillusioned place of religion. I came up in sort of a very conservative, not necessarily with my parents, but a conservative church, and it was kind of difficult to reconcile social justice with religion, which it seems to be so silly that those two things should be opposite, but in many places they are very different. So coming to the program was life-giving to me because it gave me hope for my faith. It was it just breathed life into me to make it seem like I could be someone who had faith in God and in humanity and practice social justice at the same time. So that was ultimately something that I'm still developing in my heart, and it's been very much, it's led into my experience of where I'm working right now. Also, okay, so I'm going to kind of switch into, my favorite thing about the program was that Bernie never says no to something that's a good idea. I don't know how many times I came to a different, well, I want to take this course at main campus, and can I apply that to my degree? Of course. Well, I want to, for the experiential learning for second year, I had my own idea about where I wanted to volunteer, and it was community living near my hometown, and that was where it's okay. So I ended up doing a placement there and got a job that summer with them, which was awesome. And then I did the Dominican Republic and Guatemala trip in the same year, and I said to Bernie, is this okay? Can I do this? He's like, well, it can be done. Even though it's a lot, you can do it. So I was able to do that, and those experiences very much have changed my life and taught me that social justice and people all around the world are struggling for the same thing, no matter what passion or area that you're focused on. Ultimately, I think we're all striving for human dignity and for to give people life and love and encouragement and respect. So it was beautiful to see that in place in different communities around the world. And then in third year, so I was doing the Dominican and Guatemala trips, I also was doing another thing I came to Bernie with, can I do an independent study at a local agency and just get a credit for it? And write papers and do research and stuff, and Bernie said, okay. So I plugged myself into an agency called the London Crisis Pregnancy Center, and I volunteered there for about a year. Got to know the agency, the ins and outs of it, the craziness that surrounds working with a nonprofit with a very few staff and very many clients to deal with. So that experience volunteering there ultimately led to me getting a job this past September. I finished my studies in April, or May I guess, and felt very lost for the summer. I was working at some stupid clothing store downtown, and I hated my job, and I was like, what am I going to do? And kind of out of the blue, this agency contacted me and said, we want you to work with us. And it was because of my experience volunteering there, because of Bernie saying, okay, sure, do that, that's great, that I've been able to get a job there. So the London Crisis Pregnancy Center is a nonprofit charitable organization. We focus on supporting women and families in crisis pregnancy through love and unconditional support. So we've had clients as young as 12, as old as 40 come to us, and basically we do whatever we need to get them through where they're at to make healthy life decisions. No matter what decision they choose for their pregnancy, we want to be an open place for them to feel respect and hope and much like myself, growing up in a Christian background, sometimes it was filled with like guilt and shame and these things that make you feel oppressed. This is a Christian organization I work with, but they do the opposite of that, which is like liberate people from shame and guilt and fear, and empower them with education to make healthy choices for themselves. So I love my job, and it's wonderful. And what else did I want to say? Okay, so my advice, I guess, would be to make connections in your community, to take hold and control of your own degree, and work with the system that we have here. Sometimes it can seem limiting, but see what you can do to make it your own, and to plug yourself into where you are here, so that you can make those connections, so people know you, so that not only so they can hire you, but when you're walking down the street and you see people that you have worked with or volunteered with, that you can make connections just between humans.
Good evening, and for inviting me here. I just have to say I speak very regularly to large groups of youth, probably more than you. It's really nerve-wracking having a bunch of adults staring at me right now. So during my tenure here at King's, I very much made this program what I wanted it to be. I went on delegations, I did a lot of independent studies in things that interest me. And upon graduating, I went over to Altos, Teachers College, thinking I was going to change young minds. And I spent a year volunteering in schools, trying to make my way in that world, only to find out that that really wasn't for me. Public education is not where I belong. So now I work for this place. It's a not-for-profit, and it's called Pathways. Pathways was founded in Regent Park in Toronto, and what they do is set up in very low-income areas. And where I am in Hamilton, their dropout rate is somewhere upwards of 55%. I'm so nervous right now, right? if you were between the ages of like 13 and 18, it would be fine. So anyways, it started in Regent Park, and where I am, it's a low-income area. It has its issues of all types, and so Pathways works on 4 pillars of support, basically. It just tries to make graduating high school a little bit more attainable by offering bus tickets and meal vouchers. It has academic support, so there's tutors, and then student parent support workers. And what they do is advocate. So they go into the schools and help you with their guidance counselors and course selection, and a lot of the parents are ESL, so they'll speak on their behalf. And then my role is a social mentor. So what I do is I take groups of youth and find out what interests them. So like I have a group of guys that I take to the gym once a week. I have some youth who are working on an anthology of short stories. I have youth who just are like, I think I'm really going to be a nurse, so can you help me figure that out? So I'll hook them up with somebody in a hospital and get them volunteering that way. But one of the major things of my job, my role has changed, and I love where it's going. We've hooked up with this organization called UCAN, and UCAN is Youth Organizing, Understand Conflict, and Nonviolence. And so this program was designed by youth, for youth, and my role there is to facilitate, my role there is to facilitate workshops. The first workshop that we do, it's a 2-day workshop, and it's about cross-cultural conflict and nonviolence. And I know very much that had I not had my experience here at this university, facilitating this workshop would be really, really difficult. And my goal with that is, that in 2 years I can have youth teaching this program to youth, so that I can kind of step back, watch what happened, and move on from there. I did bring some pamphlets for you if you have like questions about UCAN specifically, or if you have questions about Pathways. Emails on there, phone number, you can call. I only have 18 hours a week, so that's kind of the yucky part of my job. And yeah, that's it. My job in a nutshell.